Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 12th, 2017 Abington Finance Committee meeting. We are ending our series tonight of meeting with department heads, going over their budgets, going over their wishes and desires, and we have a slate of people here to meet with us tonight and tell us how their departments are doing and what they're working on. Committee member Mike Platty walking in just after we turn the cameras on. Very close to on time. Starting off tonight, we have Wayne Norling from the IT Network Administration Department. How you doing, Wayne?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Jump right in and walk us through your budget.
All right, so basically my budget's just about the exact same thing as it was last year. It's only $890 more than last year. Salary's a little bit less because of the way they figure the year as far as the weeks. We had a little bit of a decrease in some of the licensing for KBS. We kicked out a couple of modules, so that's why that licensing's smaller. I upped the travel a little bit, only because I've been traveling to the police station more often lately, taking care of them. Besides that, everything else is just about the same. We are implementing a new phone system in 3 weeks, and that will save us about $1,000 a year.
Are there any areas where we have foreseeable needs coming up?
I've already planned ahead for those. I've already decommissioned most of the old servers that we got hand-me-down from the high school. So we have new, up-to-date servers. This year I'll be updating some switches. Our mail spam filters is up, and that I'll be replacing that and the wireless in the town hall. So,
What are the servers running? Just personal curiosity.
server 2012 R2.
Okay, good. Nice.
So, and I've already updated this year all,
Town manager Rick LaFond is very happy about that. He's
and I've already
on
updated.
top of
Happy
that.
Wayne takes care of it.
I updated all our firewalls this year. I did implement a new antivirus called Sophos that protects against the ransomware.
Good.
So that should be all set with that. So we're doing firewall filtering and desktop filtering now, so try and
Excellent.
protect against the ransomware.
Nice.
So,
We don't have a lot of Bitcoin on hand.
no. Well, we did get the ransomware 3 times, so, but we never paid nothing. Because we have good backups, so. Yep.
Does anyone have questions for Wayne? Fastest one ever.
Yep, well, close.
Town manager?
No, I just want to point out that Wayne is kind of de facto building manager in terms of the alarm systems, not just that, you mentioned telephones, computers, RAM.
HVAC,
Yes, exactly, HVAC. And really, it's not just a matter of making sure that people log on to computers, so it's, and that really extends beyond the town hall, that extends to police, fire facilities, and really, council and aging building, more, really the, all of our non-school technical, and building technical needs too, so, I think what you're seeing on a budget sheet really doesn't really give a full picture of everything that goes into the, what goes on. So I think that's worth noting. So.
definitely appreciated.
So I'm sure it intended to be that way.
All right,
All right, great.
thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Next up, we have our Taunton clerk, Leanne Adams. Leanne, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Do you have a set presentation, or do you want to go line by line?
Whatever you would,
Go
line
through-
by line,
Let's go line.
that's fine.
I believe we are on page 12.
Correct.
I don't know how our pages match up, because I don't think my.
They probably don't at this point. Ours
So-
were printed a while ago.
What department do you have?
Starts with 1610.
Okay, so town clerk general.
Yep.
Hmm.
Let's see. I put in 106,010 for the increase, and that was with a 3% increase. That's the difference in the two. And my portion of that, or the clerk's position, portion of that is the 2,000, and that needs to be voted at meeting. And then going down, everything else is pretty much the same unless you have any questions. Department 1620, the elections, that's where I had a few changes.
Okay.
Under 1620, 5340,
Yep. The election postage.
yes. We're gonna need to keep that at the 150 because we do have 3 elections coming up next year. And the same reasoning for the 1620, 5342 for the printing.
Sorry, Lee, where are you on here?
I am doing elections, 1620.
Page 14, the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
And then the
Okay
postage
with that.
budget and the printing budget.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry, okay.
The only other number I had that really was different than the town manager level was Department 1630 for the census. I think 1630, 5342. That does vary from year to year depending on the population.
Mhm.
That's it.
That can't be done electronically.
Would they need, what part of it do you mean?
Couldn't, I don't know.
We need something with their signature on it, that's why they have
Okay.
to have the mailing.
Is that mandated by law?
And I'm not sure if you guys already know or not, I did put in an article request for some new software that will help to support the RAO position and several other record-keeping, tracking. I made a few copies of it if you guys want one or
We
two
can,
or whatever.
I think we can pass them around to look at it.
All kinds of things. Thank you for asking. It tracks for the RAO position, the record access offer, it tracks when the request comes in. It tracks what department it goes to and how long that it's been there when it gets sent out. It will also track the amount of money that we're allowed to charge for this request. It sends us notices when you're getting close to the date that it's due. And it also tracks information with ethics, which is also something our office is required to do. We bug you guys a couple of times a year to sign the acknowledgement notice and then to take the test. This tracks all of this, and it'll notify you by email, so everything will be done electronically, so we'll save paper, a little bit on that, rather than in with the postage as far as mailing it out to you. And it also has a section of the program where it tracks for when someone is appointed through the selectman's office. It'll notify us, and it also has a letter that'll be put together that'll go out automatically, electronically to the person and tell them that they need to be sworn in and all of that. When I did the presentation with the gentleman from LL Data, it's just nice to have everything all right there. You just press the button. If the state calls and says, you know, how many requests have you had for this or that, it's just much easier to press the button than to go through all the folders and files and that kind of thing.
Town manager?
Just, the RAO is a Records Access Officer, which is, since January 1, the state has updated its public records laws. And this past, 2 weeks ago, actually, it seems like a long time ago, but we did have a presentation by town council that Leanne organized for our department heads. And what Leanne is specifically referring to is a database that she's seeking to purchase. I believe it's a Microsoft Access-based database that she would retain in her office. That would help be a centralized point for tracking of public records requests in the general government. The intent is to use the assistant town clerk position to be the records access officer for the town. With the exception of our police and fire department, school department, because their data requests tend to be more involved and they would be designated themselves to be have their own records access officers through their own departments, which is more or less how it works anyway. Now that doesn't mean that individual departments are, essentially giving up their requirement to respond to public access requests. On the other hand, to the extent that requests are tracked by the town clerk's office, designated to be tracked by the town clerk's office, that there is a central point where those requests are recorded, so that upon request, either by a member of the public, by a member of the press, by the state attorney general's office, secretary of state's office, and those can be turned over in a timely manner. But it's not going to, in any significant way, change the way business is conducted. But in terms of how we report to the state, that's very important because penalties are significantly different. Timetables are a little bit different. And failure to report does create problems in a way that has not been the case in the past. So this is one way Leanne has researched what she believes is her best approach for her and Barbara, the assistant town clerk, to help carry that function through. Now, I will say that some of us are completely convinced that this is the absolute best software approach, but she is going to need some tool, whether this is the exact, so there is going to be some need for some resources, whether this is the best one or not, but there's, so we're going to need some funding to help achieve that. So, is that fair, Leanne?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the yearly maintenance fee for that, Wayne said that he would be picking up. So it would just, for the clerk's office, it would just be this one time.
Just when you were researching different programs, have you reached out to other towns or
Yes.
within the area, and what seems to be the one, is there one that's being preferred over others, or is it like surrounding towns?
Yes, I have a list of surrounding towns that are doing it with this program because this is more reasonable. Other fancier towns are using this other program that's about $5,000 a year. It's really nice, but it's not us.
Yeah,
I did do some research.
One of the reasons why, and we've, in fairness, Lee and I have had a little bit of a, this is gonna sound much more of a, like we've had come to blows, a little bit of a go-around. I think to the extent that this is a kind of a Microsoft-based database, and some advantages because it's more, something can be manipulated a bit more. It has some advantage. I think it's probably easier to use, easier to manipulate, and I think that's kind of why, again, I don't put words in her mouth, but I think that's why it's being a little more utilized by more communities, and Lee has kind of come back to it, so.
It's more in our price range, I think.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
5 questions.
Tyler.
I'm not gonna take us to one, it's
Five
5
questions?
questions.
Okay, go.
All related.
He's been
Just
saving them
my-
up.
my- my
He's
friend-
missed.
My friendly piece would be, it's, the word manipulate's not the right word. Customizable, configurable is probably the right word. Manipulate means you can change data. I don't think that we want to have anything you can change data for. So if you receive my request, a 6610 request, you're time bound, and we wouldn't want someone to go in and manipulate that. So that's the one piece. That's more for just a friendly aside. I knew what you meant, just figured we'd clarify that. I'm confused by this. I think it's great. I support it. I think it's wonderful. You should have it for administrative ease, for ensuring the community is responsive to those who are looking for information from the community, and I think it supports transparency in government. It says it's giving you a free year of maintenance, but the quote shows you only giving you six months worth of maintenance.
They are working out different deals depending on when I'm given approval.
I understand. So this is the 2007, so this is just FYI. So
That
we'll,
is-
we'll look at this and go like this.
Yes, that,
And then I missed, you said IT is gonna be picking up the maintenance expense as
yes.
part of their budget. And was that in his budget for 17?
Do you know? Is that in Wayne's budget
I
already?
don't know.
I'm actually,
I would-
I don't believe so.
I would guess,
That would take
I would
place
guess
the
that
next
it
year
would be-
anyway, right?
yeah, that.
This would be
if
for
we are approving
17
it-
or
If we're
18.
approving
Yes,
it
that's
at
true.
town
You go into
meeting,
19, yeah.
it would be purchased.
Yeah, sure, but there's still a maintenance fee 6 months after installation, so that's one of the questions that kind of
And they'd
pops.
be willing to work with us to, to push it forward if we needed to do
And then
that.
just simply 4 and 5 are, I already answered them by looking at that.
The first year maintenance fee is part of the 3885, isn't it?
It is, yes. I think,
The warrant.
yes.
So
Yes.
that
That's
was.
a
So
6
that would
months.
be covered.
Well, that's question 4 and 5, because the back page paper, which is the FYI, says 1 year maintenance free. The middle page, which is the quote, shows 6 months of maintenance for free, and you have to pay the remaining in that year, and then we have the 3835. It's just as, I think what you gave is kind of the high of the pack, this is what the worst
Yes.
case it could be, and, the best it can be is a little less, and the reoccurring expense is picked up by IT, and we can look back at this budget and ask that, but it's not gonna break anybody.
Other comments, questions?
Can I ask one?
Yes.
Is elections really gonna be at the high school this year?
Yes, they
Yep.
are.
All right, we got the thing, I'm like, is right or wrong?
Yes, they are. And the high school's also going to be open during the voting, if anybody wants to go in and look around one last time.
All right.
It's my fault, I commented on it, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of part of the record.
You have it. All right, we good?
All right.
Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Leanne. Thank you for your
everybody.
time.
Thank you.
Next item up for bids on The Price is Right. We have our police chief, Chief Dave Majensky.
Am I it for you guys?
I believe we have water coming after.
Oh, we do?
What was that? I don't know. Yeah, it's on the agenda. So,
Take me a couple seconds just to get organized. Just, these are just, excuse me, sorry. Just copies, in case you hadn't seen it, of the town report for 2016. Those that might be interested that are on the, that are watching this, you can go right on our website. I have a copy of it, 2016, so if somebody's interested, you know, not everybody gets the town report, the book, so I always like to try to throw it up on our website, just so the public can have it, take a peruse at it. I usually do it every year. First of all, thank you, and one thing I wanted to mention was, we talked a little bit earlier, just April 22nd at the police station, there'll be the Abington Cleanup Day. I think it's right before we have the Little League Parade, too. It's going to start from the police station that day. That's a Saturday. And I know Lisa and your crew are going to be there, and along with a lot of other townspeople, certainly to help clean up Abington on that day. It's a great thing to do, and great effort. I applaud. That's good stuff. And we're happy to be a small part, and you know, in the community room. That's what we designed it for, and that's good stuff. So, if I could just, and I'll brief right over it. I won't try to bore people, but on the town report, just to brief over it. You know, a lot of it is just, it's basically saying thank you to you guys, really, for, you know, over the years. Hopefully this year, hopefully we'll add a couple of police officers. I know it's been a long process. I know everybody has been working tirelessly over the years. Oh, it's been over a decade. And we're, you know, working together, certainly working with the town manager and working with the finance committee. I know I've met with the, not only with the, you know, the town manager, the assistant town manager, but also with the rep, Ms. Whiting, to review. And it's appreciated, that's all. It's just appreciated that, hopefully, if things go, you know, go right, we'll be able to add a couple of police officers at a relatively, you know, to a relatively small cost to the town, kind of speaking. So I just want to talk about, you know, the department continues to, community partners. You'll see community partnership, which is a nice way of saying community policing. And as you see in our town report, really problem solving is a big issue. One of the cornerstones, I think, of community policing. And to speak to that for a second, I have each shifts. I have a meeting Friday with my shift sergeants, and they'll go over ideas for community policing projects that they do. Each shift is unique. For instance, the midnight shift, they come up with a couple different ideas. One of which, you know, it might be with car brakes. So it's like, all right, let's try to solve car brakes. Let's kind of think outside the box. Let's do, you know, our patrols. Let's target our patrols, but let's also do an education thing where we actually knock on people's doors and we come up with a leaflet and say, you know what, 99% of our car brakes are people leaving their stuff out and their cars are unlocked. You know, because you come in your house and you don't expect somebody to come in your driveway or in your house, and really, you should be able to leave your car unlocked, but the reality is it doesn't happen. And sometimes, you know, people go in and they'll check a door. They don't necessarily break, but they'll just go into a neighborhood, wherever it might be, and check doors. So different ideas like that to go out and actually knock on doors, or shoplifting, to work with our local stores. Another example, and to work with security. Try to figure out, all right, why does one store have more thefts than another store? And what are they doing different? And is your security there, and is your security trained? And is your security there when we're having the biggest problem? Because we can tell you when you know, you're getting the most thefts. We can tell you the day of the week, and we can tell you the hours that you're getting a higher probability of people stealing. So to share that information, so it really is community policing. When I talk about problem solving, we really do practice it, and I think we're one of the few departments that uses SARA method, which is, you know, scanning, analyzing, coming up with a response, and then assessing, did it work? Did it actually work? You know, when we compare house breaks or vandalism or whatever it might be. Last year, the same time period to this same time period, does it work? Did it work? Did our efforts make sense? And then we certainly, our commitment to excellence, I like to think our officers, men and women who work for us, strive for excellence. We certainly push for excellence. We're very particular about the way we do things. And, sometimes this creates friction, but, we strive for excellence as a department. And also, you can practice compassion. That's the other part of it, too. That's the other cornerstone. Certainly, and we practice what we preach because, if you look at programs like, our drug enforcement. We do what we get out there, we'll make our arrest, but we also are a part of the EB Hope, which is a great program, which we're out there, offering help to people that are struggling with addiction. We're knocking the doors, that critical time period, 24 to 48 hours when they might relapse. We have mentors come down, we have officers in plain clothes come visit. We share information, we have former addicts, recovering addicts, working with them to try to get them help, try to find beds for them, try to get them treatment, try to get them help. So really, there is the letter of the law, and there is the spirit of the law, and there is a difference. And we try to practice that. Some of the nice things we've done over this past year, High Five Fridays, student police academies. We participated in Halloween, giving out, officers gave out candy. It was a big hit. Senior Center, we routinely visit. We did a police versus student volleyball game on one of the breaks, which was a big hit with the kids. Cruiser rides, we do a basketball tournament. We participated as a department, or, many of the members in the Marine Corps Honor Run. I think that's coming up again. Last year it was to a tribute to the late Sergeant Dan Vasilian. Officers participated in that. And, we work with other organizations as well. We try to use resources, whether it be EB Hope, whether it be South Shore Facts, whether it be Abington Drug Coalition, whatever it might be, doing things like Hidden in Plain Sight, or to try to get open and family discussions on different issues that are plaguing us. We have school resource officers, which I'm thrilled about. We meet every Wednesday. We meet, myself, the superintendent was at the meeting today. It's usually assistant superintendent, my school resource officers, my lieutenant, the deputy chief. We all meet and we just discuss, all right, what are the issues, what's going on, what are some of the programs that we can be doing, and is everybody on the same page to make sure that we're giving the citizens of Abington the best service we possibly can. And then we write grants. There's certainly Sergeant Mark Kilgore. I talked a little bit about how many EOPS, how many grants he's written, whether it be distracted driving, seatbelt enforcement, operating under the influence enforcement, traffic safety. We've gotten awards for that. And then, again, we're reaccredited. So, but mainstay, the main purpose of it, and you'll see that the important, probably one of the most important thing is just to say thank you to, I know, the tireless efforts of the people on the Finance Committee. And it's a tireless job, and it's a thankless job at times, because, everybody gets frustrated, and you're trying to do the right thing, and we're all trying to do the right thing, but can't always get there. So, thank you. All right, to go over the budget, and because I don't want to take up too much time, but to go over the budget, you'll see that we added 2 positions, which I'm thrilled about. The overall budget, if you look at the budget, the overall increase from last year is $40,000. That's in both expenses are flat line, so there's no increase at all in expenses. But the personnel cost is a total increase of $40,000. Yet we're putting on 2 positions. And we're looking at some of the savings that, working with the town manager, some of the savings that, we think that we're going to live by it. We were saying it, and we're going to live by it, on costs associated with saving overtime. Also, you'll see the Quinn bill, as officers retire, transfer, they receive the Quinn bill. A lot of the senior guys, new officers coming in don't. So there's a cost realization on that. Now, I'm a big proponent, I'm a big believer in education, and the importance of it. However, when officers transfer, the reality of it is new officers coming in don't get Quinn bill. Officers who retire, transfer, or whatever it might be, they do. So, that can be that's a substantial savings. So as I go down through the line items, I'll go through each one of them. You'll see on overtime, last year, we asked for $90,000, and I actually wanted to grab this too to see where we're at. So in case you ask me where we're at currently right now. Excuse me. Somewhere in here I have it, one of these sheets. Anyways, we flatline that number. You'll see no increase whatsoever in our overtime costs. Right now, you'll see the majority of overtime expended is on open shifts. With the hiring of new police officers, on this particular line item, the lion's share is open shifts. When we have officers who are either going through the academy, officers out, we're trying to keep down to a reasonable manning standard. As we hire new officers, you know, the open shift should go away, which means we're not filling for overtime. We're putting in the officers. To speak to that, we had 3 officers that just graduated from the academy. We have 2 more that are going to graduate from the State Police Academy in June, I think it's 24th. And we have another officer in, and then with the 2 new officers that we're hoping in July, we really should be in good shape. I mean, we'll be up to 29 officers total, counting everybody. When I first took over, we were in the low 30s, but certainly that is huge, huge stride, and a positive thing for the town, I think, personally. Shift differential, we flatlined. Again, there was no increase in that from the year before. It's bugging me that I don't have the final numbers here. It's bugging me. Don't mind me. I think it's right here, actually. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. So we look at, where we at? Shift differential. Again, I didn't increase that at all from last year. I think we can live within our allotted amount. Certainly holidays, I think I increased it a little over $3,000. It's probably underfunded when I look at where we're at now for holidays. Right now, as of today, we've spent about $63,000 in holidays, and with a total, you know, FY18 or FY17, I should say, of 71. So it's looking like we are going to, that's probably a little underfunded, but hopefully I can make up cost savings in other line items to offset, you know, anything. Specialist stipends went up about $2,400. That's contractually driven. Certainly with the addition of the new offices, that it's contract driven. Vacation, flatlined it, same amount. It did not go up at all, along with sick time and court time. So you'll see those 3 major overtime items. We flatlined them. We didn't go up. And I'm hoping, honestly, I'm hoping that as we hire and we get these people on the road, because it's still a training process, and it's still going to be a little bit, there's going to be shift filling in probably the first 3 or 4 months. I'm hoping that, you know, that we can realize more savings as we go. So next year, I'm hoping that as we sit here in front of you next year, and as we slowly get off of these federal grants, that I'll be able to have realized cost savings for you, so that I'm not coming here asking for additional funding. I really think that we can manage this and make it come from within, if things go according to plan. Bereavement leave, again, didn't increase it. Other personal expenses didn't increase it. Uniform allowance, there was an increase of $3,900, and again, that's contractually driven. And in-service training, we flatlined it. So the total increase in personal, well, I guess the total increase in personal, or the budget for that matter, however you want to look at it, is an increase of $40,000. And again, using money saved through the various methods, you know, we're going to hire 2 police officers with that. So I think it's a positive thing. I really do. I'm pretty happy about it. I could go through, if you'd like, I can go through the expenses Okay, does it make sense? Okay.
So,
Because in the expenses, again, it's flatlined, the monies are moved around, but there's no increase in any way. I just kind of look at the line items, I look at what we expend, and I, adjust from there to try to get the line items right, so that what we're looking at is what we expended. Okay. So you'll look at electricity, we went up a couple $1,000. And that's because, as I project and as I look at, what our costs are, there's an increase. So that line item was underfunded, and as a result, I increased it a couple $1,000. Fuel oil, I looked at that line item, that's the station fuel. I went down $1,000 on that, from $14,000 to $13,000. Again, looking at what we expended in years prior, in the prior FY16, and looking at what we have now, I'm comfortable with reducing that number. Repairs and maintenance, I went up $2,000. I looked at that line item, and again, it's a $6.3 million building. It is, I think we're on our 9th year now. It's been here. So it's certainly some of the, costs to keep it up are increasing a little bit. And I'll give you an example. I know we talked earlier about, I know you had the technology, Wayne Norling on here, and he is a master of everything. He is so helpful. He went up and helped work with our AC. We have 6 AC units on top of the building, and he was up there today working with a local contractor, and one of the units wasn't working, and he sits up there and he helps them, he has a level of technology and a level of expertise that it really is invaluable to the town. The kid is, I should say the gentleman is just invaluable, and he's up there, and so, it's gonna cost us, I think that we got an estimate of $400 per unit, so there's 6 units, so there's $2,400, plus there was some lines that were burnt out, and then whatever repairs they find there. So to inspect them, clean them, is $400 a unit, and then to repair any repairs they find, whether it be belts or whatever it might be. And those are the things that are slowly but surely, we got to keep up on them. I mean, it's a beautiful building. If you have ever gone in it, and if you go in it even now, if you get the opportunity to walk through it, and if you ever want to, let me know. You'll see how well kept it really is. I'm very particular about it. We have a couple of people that come by, and a couple of citizens that will paint. If there's a ding in the wall, they'll come by, and they're so reasonable. They come by, and they really clean it up. We really take a lot of pride in it. And to me, it looks as nice now as it did on the inside, if you get an opportunity, as it was 9 years ago. And again, that's because we appreciate the fact that the townspeople, invested $6.3 million in a building. And so, purchase service, we left it flatlined at that. We spent just about every bit of that last year. Postage, again, flatlined. We did not increase that, nor did we with telephones. Telephones I looked at hard to see if maybe we could reduce that, but my realization is that I'm hoping that we're going to get some detectives up and running as we get these offices working, which will require a couple of telephones, a couple of mobile telephones, so I flatlined it from the year before. Radio, I increased it $500. That's the portable radios, and one of the nice things that we did this year is that we went out and used our citation revolving account, and one of the things that we used it for was to get portable radios. We had a lot of issues, and we also used grant money, by the way, for that. I think we got, I want to say it was $4,000 matching grant, which was nice. But those portables are about $2,700 a piece. It's amazing. And I looked at other options for other brands. We went with Motorola, and I hemmed and hawed, but I think when push came to shove, the importance of having a good radio and the importance and the voltage that these particular radios put out, I think, you know, they're the standard, so I didn't want to mess with it too much. And you'll see that one of the things that we did was we got also mics. You'll see, for lack of a better term, you'll see what the state police has. There's an antenna on the mics here, and that gives a little bit more, it gives you another, I think, watt or another watt and a half of power. So to try to work on getting better communication for the officers that are out there. Teletype and computers, again, we flatlined that, we didn't increase. Office supplies, we did go up $500, and you'll see in FY16, we spent about almost $8,700. This year, or in FY18, we're asking for $8,500. So we're asking, you know, for a $500 increase, but still less than we used the year before. Gas and oil, we went down $5,000. We reduced that $5,000 looking at what we expended. And gas and oil is always one of those strange things, like, you know, you can see now, you know, potential increases in fuel costs. You just don't know where it's going. It's one of those areas that, you know, I try to be as conservative as I can without undercutting us to a point where I'd ever have to come back to you.
Do you buy it?
We buy it in bulk.
In bulk? Okay.
Yes, we buy it in bulk. That's done through, the highway department actually does it. I know we got a fuel delivery that we just had made, so so there might be another $8,000 bill that we haven't paid yet. It doesn't reflect in here, but we buy it in bulk, and they buy it, I think they bid it out, if my memory, I think through the town manager's office, they bid it out, and they get the state bid or the state contract, I believe. Vehicle supplies, again, we didn't increase that. Travel expenses, no increase in that. Dues and membership, no increase. Training expenses, we went up $1,000. A lot of the training expenses are academy expenses. When every academy that we go to, when we put these offices, we're spending $3,000. Of course, you're paying their salary and wages and any benefits. But there's a $3,000 upfront cost. But just so you know, the offices pay that back. So the $3,000, we instituted that a couple of years ago. Although we're spending it per offices. For instance, we have, 3 offices that just graduated. That was $9,000 that the town paid. The offices pay it back once they start working. They pay it back in, you know, we negotiate with them, but usually it's about $100 a week that they pay until they pay that $3,000 back. So what's that, 30 weeks? They get it paid back. So the town does recoup it. It goes back into the general fund of the town. And so some of it can be misleading, because you look at this and you go, well, we're spending a lot of money in training expenses. But the reality of it is the town gets it back, which I think is, you know, I had mixed feelings on that, on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think in today's, you know, society where people, you know, move on a lot, they don't stay in one spot, I think it only makes sense that the town, you know, get their investment back. It's no different, I guess, than going to college, and you get your return on your investment once you pay it. So it's a different way of looking at it, but I don't know if it's right or wrong, but we do it. And then unclassified expenses, we didn't increase. So in a nutshell, that's my budget. Now, anybody has any questions on any particular line item or anything that it's pretty straightforward. Again, I'm thrilled that working together with Cindy, with this group, with the town manager, that we're going to have a couple more offices, which I've already called the list in anticipation. Hopefully, you know, if things, you know, go south, then they go south. But so I'm hoping that right in the beginning of July we can have a couple of offices in the academy and up and running. And my other thought pattern is, as you know, because we're in civil service, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Those that have ever dealt with civil service to hire under civil service. It is. And right now we've exhausted our residence list. So we're going to non-residents. There's people as far away as Boston, all over, which presents difficulties, but not necessarily a bad thing. But we just asked for a list of, I think it was 3 offices, right? No, 2 offices. We had a total, we've exhausted all our Abington list. We had a total of 3 people actually sign, so we gotta ask for more. And we're constantly doing this, so it's mind-boggling to me. But it's not unique to Abington, I can tell you that. I talk to my colleagues all the time, they're all going, it's a funny day. I mean, I don't know if people don't want to be police officers, or if it's just a different world. I don't know, but I know that we talked to the state police is going through a hiring process right now, and of course they look at candidates that are trained. They love local police officers, and they're frustrated just talking to them. They're having a difficult time filling their own academy. They have one hopefully coming up for them, and in some respects I hope they don't, because I'm afraid I'll lose some of my officers, but I also understand that people are going to go where they think where their heart is, and that's okay. But even the state police, which I think is a wonderful job, as well as Abington, having difficulty to finding qualified good candidates.
Chief, when you hire off a civil service, is it for every one position you call 3 names? Is that
Correct. And yes,
That speaks to the enormity that you only get 3.
Yeah.
3 folks.
Yes.
Usually it's a coveted job, it's public service, public safety. You're not the first chief that I've heard
right.
lament that point. I know it's equally the same across the fire service.
Yes.
When you look to compete for similar resources, and you hear public sector HR directors or hiring managers say, you gotta get it out quick, because the best candidates are gonna go. So I think each of the points, and Matt, I apologize for you sort of talking out of turn. I think each of the points that you raised as it relates to building to your authorized strength, or at least getting darn close to that, having a plan to get folks through, and I think, what I heard is trying to make it such that the environment is one that people want to stay.
Correct.
And do well for the community. And
Yes.
that's a tough challenge in today's world, especially when you hear expressions of people cobbling together what are no gigs, right? Having side hustles, so to speak, where people have 2, 3 jobs.
Right.
That's much more conducive to their way of life. So I think it's, for one, usually many budgets, we've sat through many budgets together. Chief Rainey, yourself, I think $40,000 difference between year over year is pretty fantastic.
Pretty excited about it. It's good stuff. And for those who might have taken the civil service exam, in listening, so 'cause it should be coming out in about April, the scores. I plan on hiring about 10 permanent intermittents. So if you're out there and you're listening to this, and you're from Abington, and you've taken the exam, and hopefully you'll be getting a call from us, because I want to hire 10 permanent intermittents, and now those are people that we don't pay. But they're sort of, just so everybody understands what a permanent intermittent is, they're officers that are covered under civil service, and they're sort of next up. So we would, require that they start to train. A lot of the stuff they do on their own. But then, when we have an opening, we have somebody right there. Now all they have to do is pick one of those 10, as opposed to calling a list, doing this, doing that. We got away from that. But I think I want to head back that way. I think that's the right way of doing business. So hopefully the people out there, maybe people that are from town who are interested in the job, watching this or listening to this and took the civil service exam, we will be hiring. It may not be full-time, but eventually it will lead to full-time. Anybody have any questions? Super.
Cindy?
Do you talk about your revolving funds, I think?
Yes,
What
yes.
you kind of like to
Yep.
be looking at?
Yep, great, thank you. Ms. Whiting. I have that right in the back. So, we talked a little bit about the revolving account, and, it's nice to know what we expended the money on last year, of the citation revolving account. So, some of the things we got this year are, crosswalk signs. You see those crosswalk signs that are out, I'm working with the business community. I was talking with a member of Martin's, and the business community is going to help us by putting them out and bringing them in, the crosswalk signs up in their in front of their stores, which is nice partnership. But so the senior citizen sign that you see on Summer Street, as you walk and you come in, you see, senior citizens, be careful, because with the railroad crossing and all that, that's where funding came from, the citation revolving account, to warn people, because seniors are trying to come out of there. We worked with the highway department, they installed it. We use this money to purchase that, for safety. Phone recorders, we had, and that was a hefty amount for us. Phone recorders went down, of course, especially when you talk about public records law, keeping phone and making sure that our recordings don't go, are there. We brought it and upgraded the system. That was certainly, Wayne handled that for us. We got laptops for computers for the cruisers, tasers. We got 5 tasers, and that's one of the areas that I'm looking to move towards even the next fiscal year, upgrading our tasers. There's some safety features on the newer tasers, which I like. The older ones, if you tase somebody, if you can imagine when you pull the taser, as long as you're pulling it, it'll keep tasing. These newer generations, 5 seconds, shuts off. So if somebody's in a stressful situation, which happens, and you're over tasing somebody. So, I mean, it hasn't happened, but was brought to my attention that this new product's a little bit different. There's been nothing, I'm not saying that anybody's done anything wrong in it, but I just like to be a step ahead and get the newest and best, that, especially when it comes to such a important tool. New holsters. We got new holsters for the offices. These are ones before. I might be speaking out of tune because I'm not an armorer, but we're double retention. These are triple retention, which means there's one extra step in order to get the weapon out. So it's a safety issue for the offices, that if you're wrestling with somebody, it makes it that much more difficult for them to take your weapon from you and use it against you. So so we upgraded our holsters. And then, like I said earlier, 16 portable radios we purchased, along with the mics that I had spoken previously about. This year coming up, so that was what we expended money this past year. Some of the issues that I would like to tackle, I had mentioned the tasers. Certainly interview recorders are something that I'd like to upgrade. It's critically important that we, in our 3 interview rooms, that we have, easily accessible, easily used, and I know Wayne's replaced, our technology person's already replaced a couple of hard drives. I don't want to lose recordings when we're doing interviews. The courts really frown on that. Obviously, they like to have recordings, and as do we. So when we're interrogating somebody, when we're interviewing somebody, when we're just having conversation with somebody, that is important that we document it and that it's audio and visual recorded. So our stuff's a little bit long in the tooth, and we need to really upgrade that, and that's what I plan on doing this year coming up. One of the other things that I know we have to replace, but I've been neglectful in it, is a battery backup system. The battery backup is, if you can envision, it's basically, in a nutshell, it's car batteries, that there's probably 40 car batteries that are on a special, that are charged up, and when we lose power to the building in a storm, the generator kicks on. We have a generator, of course, that's gas powered, so so it comes from a different fuel source. Our station is natural gas, this is diesel fuel, the generator. But in the meantime, you have to have something that says, so you don't lose all your data, so it doesn't trip all the computers, and those are batteries. Their life expectancy is 5 years. We've already gotten reports that they're corrupt and they're not working, and they're 9 years old because of the new station they were put in with the new station. And the frustrating part is that's $17,000 just in of itself, which is, I mean, I've gotten a couple of prices on them from Eaton and a couple other vendors. It's just expensive. So I keep dribbling the ball on it, but eventually we really do have to tackle it. Another thing that I think that I would like to upgrade is our external and internal cameras. We have external cameras. I'd like to upgrade those a little bit, but I also like to install and upgrade internal cameras. I think there's value in having a better camera system in all areas of the station. We've had incidents where, I guess I'll be vague, but we've had issues where it would have been much better had we had cameras inside the station to verify issues that we might have had or things that we might have run across. So I'd like to really upgrade and install new cameras inside the station in all the areas, whether it be my area, whether it be the roll call area, whether it be the hallways, whether it be lockup area, just a little bit better, a little bit more clear. And then a padded cell. I actually want to get a padded cell. I've seen the newest stations have it. We have right now, if you've ever been to a station tour, you'll see we have a restraint chair. There is some training involved in the restraint chair, but there also is some liability involved with the restraint chair, because when you lock in somebody down, if you can envision it, it's exactly what you would think it is. It's a chair where if somebody's completely out of control, we're locking them down and we're stopping their movement. You have to, give them a chance to, you can't just keep them like that. You've got to let them, unlap one arm, let them move, a leg, let them move. You don't want to just strap somebody down. It's over the top. But a padded cell would be a much, more humane, and B, I think safer for everybody. So I think it's something that we really should at least take a look at. But in the other sense, we've come a long way, because when I first come on, there was no chair. There was officers when I first came on, honestly, they'd take a chair like this, you get strapped in, they'd strap them in, and they'd put a motorcycle helmet that they got from I don't know where. I have a distinct memory of it. A motorcycle helmet they'd put, because the people, when people are not, are going through whatever, or not of sound mind, sometimes, they will smash their heads against the walls. They will hurt themselves. I've seen them. I've seen people run into walls at full speed, and you think that doesn't happen. It does when people are just not for whatever reason, having issues or not of sound mind. So those are some of the things that I'm hoping to purchase as we go forward. Questions? But thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that.
Jim, if I could just point out, in context, you've heard what every other department come forward, there's a lot of very valid requests with regard to what seem to be minor personnel needs in the context of the entire budget. But you'll recall last year and again this year, the priority for me, and is identified also by the selectmen from a staffing perspective, has been police. And I know you've heard it from me before, but I just think that people, I forget who's new, who's here, who's not, and anybody paying attention. The staffing priority from the board of selectmen has been the police.
Yes.
It remains the police too, and that's why the budget recommendation that remains from the town manager's budget proposal remains with building the police department. Even though some of the other requests are seemingly minor, I think we're still not in a position, I think, to go beyond the scope of just staying within the priority right now with police. In addition to that, although haven't moved forward yet because of, we're really still in labor negotiations, one of the other goals that we're exploring is the possibility of going beyond maybe even civil service for future hirings of police officers. It's something that the Board of Selectmen has identified as a future goal also. But again, that's something that's in the exploratory stage too. For the reasons identified by the chief and other chiefs beyond just the region.
Again, thank you, I much appreciate it, I really do.
Couple
Please.
of questions.
Well, okay, go ahead, fire away. I thought I was getting
First-
away, I'm not.
Close. First one is, of the positions we have accounted for in the budget.
Correct.
What is your current level of staffing of having those positions filled? I know that they're, over the year, and past couple of years, there've been some goings in and out.
We have every one of our positions filled, either in the academy or currently, this is as of currently. I do have an officer that wants to transfer to a neighboring department, but currently, as we speak, every position is filled. Either they're working or they're in the academy. I have 1, 2, 3 in the academy as we speak. So that would leave, what, 24 of those 27 positions are active. 3 of them are in field training as we speak. 1 is currently out on leave. So I guess that would be 23 then.
Other question
Please.
was, where do we stand with the current grants? Because you talked about your desire to, within your already existing budget, working out replacing the grant money. What are the time periods on the grants that we still have remaining?
We have 2 years left on our grant. It's, the federal government covers 75% of the costs associated with the school resource officers. Be candid with you, when we are done with that, we have 2 school resource officers. I'm going to take a long, hard look at whether we need 2 school resource officers. And that's something, that's a conversation I'll have with the town manager. That's a conversation I will have with the superintendent of schools. And we'll try to figure out, does this make sense? But right now, the federal government will fund us 75% of the cost, so we think it's in the taxpayers' best interest to do that. However, long-term, I'm not 100% certain that we, as a district, need that. But, again, that's just exploratory, but it is in the back of my head.
Anyone else with other questions for the chief? Chief, thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Very
appreciate it, thank you.
All right. Continuing our parade of departments tonight, we have the Water Department, Dan Callahan.
Good evening to all.
How are you tonight?
Always good. I have extra copies of my budget. I don't know if anybody needs them.
I think we should have it, but I think we'll take them anyway.
Okay.
Never turn down free copies of budgets. Here, I'll pass them around.
Yeah, there will be.
That one?
We're getting there. Thank you. This is nice, less paper I have to take home. Okay, especially for anybody that's new, but I think I've met you all before on the FinCom, but as you know, we do things a little bit different when we have to. We almost run 3 departments at the same time. I just left Rockland's FinCom tonight, so that one's done. Now we get this FinCom, but
So it's been a busy night.
it's been a busy night. The biggest portion of my budget, and that's why you have 2 of them, is the joint waterworks. Again, to give you the synopsis, we have the Rockland Water Department, we have the Abington Water Department with their individual budgets, and then within the budgets is a line item that supports the joint waterworks, which is basically all the employees, all the benefits, all the producing of water and delivering of water. The town itself picks up the meters in their own town, the mains in their own town, or anything of that nature. So the way I do the budget is, and this is good news for Abington this year, I'm glad I did Rockland first. I take what we utilized for water last year. It's not fair for Abington, to fund the joint budget, it's not fair for Abington to use this particular year 46% of the water, but get billed for 50% of the operating cost. And meanwhile, Rockland using 54% and only getting billed for 50%. So every year what I do is I evaluate what my water usage was proportionately the previous year. And I take my entire joint budget and split it up, and that's why if you see under the FY18 request, the entire budget is 4.1, but then the shares are broken up, that 1.8 comes from Abington and 2.2 comes from Rockland. And that's how we do it, so that I can try to proportion justly. Now, the only real change, my joint budget went up by almost 200,000. But the biggest part of that is the health insurance. As you can see, that itself went up 107. And the reason it went up so much is when I did my FY17 budget, I come in with a proposed number, and I usually plug in 5% a year. Well, they went up 20%, and I didn't budget for that. So when I go into 18 now, I have to start with a much higher number, and then 5% on top of that. So the 107 is really the accumulation of the last 2 years, but it's reflected in this year's budget. And then the other one is contractual salaries and so forth. Electricity went up, but that's out of my hands. We have the treatment plants, and we run pump stations, and we have to run the pumps overnight and everything, and that's something out of my hands, as well as the chemical cost. When we make the water, the chemicals go up. I have to use more chemicals, and that's basically. And what I do when I propose my budget is I basically take where I look at my last 2 years, 16 and 17, and then I take, as you can see, when I did this budget, it was done in mid-December, and I'd look about where I am on that budget, and I try to project it out, that, I'm a third of the way through the year, I should be a third of the way through the budget. And that's why some of them went down, some of them went up, but the bottom line is due to health insurance and salary. It went up 192. But again, the good news, Rockland only went up 49,000 and 140, and I'm sorry, Abington went up 49,000 because the shares differed. So then I take that figure, which is Rockland, is Abington's share, the 1.88, and that gets transposed over into the Abington budget under intermunicipal water. It's a line item in my budget. Now, you look at that there, I have a 2.7 budget, 1.8 of it comes from the joint. 644,000 comes from my notes on the water main improvement projects and stuff like that. Those are funded totally by Abington because it's Abington Water Mains. Rockland has a similar line item in theirs. And the debt service this year went up by 68,000. The joint, the intermunicipal went up by 49,000 for a total, and then other ones I decreased because it's just not needing the money, it looks like. And so the total increase in the Abington budget is 87,749.12. And this will not, and fortunately, I always put in my budget, like you see here, $150,000 transfer that's coming from the undesignated fund balance, so that I only have to bring in from receipts 2.5 million to fund this $2.7 million budget. But I did it again this year, and it looks like FY17, I'm not gonna need that money, so it stays in my reserve account. That's just to cover me if receipts come in low, because I have to fund my operations through receipts. You know, there's no magic or anything like that. Plus, I look at it in realistic. A lot of this undesignated, it comes from systems development funds, prices we charge. Well, my $644,000 in debt and interest, that's systems development. So why not pay some of that with the undesignated fund balance? So that, in a nutshell, is where we stand today. I can answer any questions or concerns or,
Yes, Sean?
This is a weird triangulated question, so it's actually kind of for you, but it's gonna be directed at Rick.
So it's a
I'm
normal,
asking Rick
it's a
and
normal
you at the
question
same,
for
it is a
Sean.
normal question. Well, what jumps off the page, frankly, is that the benefits are 62% of your salaries. And I'm curious as to how that compares with the rest of the town. It just seems to be awfully, awfully high.
I'm actually not looking at the paper, but that would be extremely high, because something in the 38 to 40% would be a little more normal. What may sound high, but this is municipal government after all. We've got, we've got pension cost as for the private sector, we have that type of situation, but Dan, I'm not sure what, 60-something percent is extremely high.
yeah, but one of the things, under employee benefits, that includes the health insurance. That-
Yeah, but
that
that's,
should.
that still should
It
be
should.
high.
So just for comparison, not, this is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
what
yeah.
jumped off the page, right? So last year is 58%, and then we say that we have the $107,000 increase, which trumps you up to 62%.
Mhm.
And just like I said, it just leaps off the page. And
Yeah.
I look at it from my budgetary vantage point, I would be apoplectic if
Yeah.
I saw employee
Yeah.
benefits at 62% of salaries.
But in reality, FY17 probably should have been up around 100, around 1 million.
It doesn't make me feel better.
No, but what I'm saying, that if that was higher, it wouldn't be,
It would still jump, quite
it would,
honestly.
it would jump, yeah.
It would still jump. And so just, the reason why I was asking the town manager is just from a comparison vantage point of just how does it compare to every other employee? And I understand it's gonna be collective bargaining.
Yeah.
I understand all that, but I just, the number is just so grand that we all pay water bills. And everyone's gonna be asking sensitive questions, so I just figured, hey, of everything else you said, I like our water system. I think it looks pretty good. It operates very well. I think it's very effective. In the 10 years that I've been sitting talking with you about the water budgets, we've asked, usually it's banal questions about the undesignated water fund. Why can't we use it for any other reason, for purposes? And you say, no, Don, by statute, you have to only use it for water betterment. We get that. So I figured I'd just throw those benefit questions that's been burning through
I
me.
actually can, I don't have, maybe I do. I actually have a breakdown of what that benefit is.
Oh, that'd be helpful. That might be obvious.
Yep, I think I do have it here. I guarantee you now that I want it, I don't have it here, but. Yeah. What it consists of is, and I can send it to you in an email tomorrow, which we really, we can distribute to anybody. But what it really consists of is a breakdown of, and no, I don't have it with me. It, a big part of it, no, that's not the, yeah, I don't have it with me. But there's two, the major portion of that is health insurance and Plymouth County retirement. Those are fixed numbers that I have no say over. That's the major portion of it. Then we have our operators are required to go to school and renew their licenses every year. They have to take, they call them TCHs, total contact hours. That comes out of that. They do get, in their contract, they get a stipend for their license. That comes out of that. But I'll send you a breakdown tomorrow without, that'll be perfect.
It's perfectly fine, and I appreciate your willingness to at least entertain that question.
No, I
And
usually have that with me.
that was something that popped out to me as well, and I questioned probably for both you and the town manager, I know that the town has recently changed how we are going about our health insurance benefits, and I wasn't sure if there was
Yeah, I'm.
discussion that had been
Oh, yeah,
had.
yeah. We've all been in the same boat.
Yeah, not specifically. I know that the Joint Water Works, the lead community is Rockland, and Rockland has left Mayflower also. So I don't know if they're partnering with Rockland for their benefit plan structure next year.
I'm investigating it right now, yes.
So,
But-
certainly whatever they, because
20% increases are crazy.
At least they have options. They have two
Yes.
potential partners
Yep.
they can work with.
Excellent.
But one of the good things, like I say, I will send you the thing, and I agree with you, but one of the things, the employee benefits are all contractual. I mean, it's a number that's there for,
So how's our water supply?
we're still down. I mean, we lifted this is a good place to get it out to, because it's been on the webpage and everything, but we lifted the total ban on April 1st. We are in a stage 3 ban right now, which basically is handheld hoses only, 7 to 8 in the morning, 8 to 9 in the evening, odd even calendar days. If you live in an odd numbered home, odd address home, then you can water on odd calendar days. On December 27th, we were down 7 feet 2 inches from where we were last year at this time. This morning, we're still down 15 inches, so we've recouped about 6 feet, but it's still 15 inches. I mean, we had to put a total ban in last year, and we had 15 inches of water more than we have this year. So if we have a thing like that, we'll be going back to another total ban. Hopefully not. That last year's drought was,
Weeks to a month have certainly
yeah,
given us a lot of water.
yes, yes.
We were well behind.
But last summer's drought is the second worst in the last 100 years. So it was pretty bad. So that's where we stand on the water.
Okay.
What other questions people have for Dan? Anybody else?
Did you want to cover the articles tonight while we're here, so I don't have to come back on those? Or have you even seen them, or?
I don't think we've even seen them.
Oh, okay, so we can take that up later, then there's no need of dragging you through something that's not on here. Unless you just want to.
Sorry to make you come back.
Yeah, no, you can just always do a blanket approval.
It's always an option, right?
I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. No, you already got one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, that takes us through the new business portion of the evening. Checking with the town manager to see if he has any specific items for us for tonight.
Nothing specific other than to say, I don't know if you're planning to meet next week, but what I would say is by next Wednesday night, whether you choose to meet or not, I think would be a good deadline, at least for me to get to the committee an updated recommended budget. Well, before I do this, just in case any of you have heard, the House Ways and Means has released their proposed budget for next year, which does, for the purposes of Abington, increase the chapter, well, I would say the chapter 70, but primarily because of the offset between chapter 70 and the charter school reimbursement offset to that. Would increase our overall benefit by about $40,000, which again isn't the overall end all and be all, but every little bit helps. Whether that would survive the rest of the state budget process or not, who knows, but it's better than the alternative. But by next Wednesday, we'd hope to get to the Finance Committee, hopefully would be an updated and hopefully almost 99.9% final budget proposal, as well as a draft of the annual and special town meeting warrants and a proposed spending plan vis-a-vis that warrant. And you can, and also some comments or notes on anything else we might see that would be relevant to the spending for town meeting, that could include comments with regard to collective bargaining or anything else like that. So hopefully it will set everybody up for the rest of the month that is to come. You can completely disregard all of it, or better yet, I hope you say that looks great and it looks good at town meeting. But at least hopefully it'll put everybody in a position to hopefully not have a fire drill for the next month. So that would be the plan for us to get you what you need. If we can do that by next Wednesday, hopefully we can have an orderly approach to the next several weeks.
As for next, yeah, Sean?
Can we get that in an Excel format?
Yes. I'll get that from the chairman and Deb.
All right.
What you'd like from there.
As far as next Wednesday, we had discussion over email about availability for next Wednesday, and there were no objections, and many people saying that they are available next Wednesday, so I believe that we will be having our next meeting next Wednesday, April 19th. 7 o'clock, same bat time, same bat channel. Anything else? All right. Liaison reports.
School building committee meeting on May 9th. There are now 142 days until the new school opens for the next school year. At the end of April, it will be at 99% completion, which is termed substantial completion. They will start putting furniture and moving in May, all the stuff into the new school. So we're almost there.
Wow.
And on budget, if not below budget, for the total amount. It still has to work itself out.
Excellent. Any other reports? Correspondence. We have the Beacon, the latest copy. I know that Sean wanted this for.
I have to get to my home, so I'm gonna give it to Liggy, because he sent me a note saying I would love to have it.
Oh, there you
Thank you
go.
very much.
And then minutes. We do not have minutes from last week's meeting yet. We will have those for next week, and we will also have meeting minutes from the March 15th meeting, which I had to take minutes for, which is why those have been severely delayed. As both our recording secretary and board secretary were not at that meeting, so my note-taking abilities are not strong, so, and ability to turn those notes into a proper Deb format is also severely lacking, which is why those just got to Deb today to go over. But we will have those next meeting to go over and discuss. Does anyone else have any other business, any other motions for this week's meeting?
Second.
Motion to adjourn in a second. Any discussion? Without any discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? It is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
It's easier to read. Plus, if you get a chance, look at